Hey y'all, today we're making some cheesy crockpot chicken pasta.
I'm looking up from my window. Sun's coming up like the day before. You're like a stone on my pillow. I don't make a sound when I shut the door. You don't have to wake up yet. We can spend all day.
Alrighty y'all, so the first thing we're going to need to do is get our chicken all prepped. So what you're going to need is 2 pounds of chicken breast, and we're just going to go ahead. I just had 4 chicken breasts in a pack, y'all, so that's what I went with. So if you have 3 or you have 4 or even if you have 5, you don't have to weigh this out. Just put your several chicken breasts over in your crock pot and it's going to be just fine, okay? So what you're going to need to do, like I said, is just go ahead and trim it up. And that's pretty much it. We're just going to trim it up and throw it in the crock pot. But I want to apologize one last time. Hopefully this will be the last time I have to. I'm sick. I've been sick, y'all, and I sound kind of congested. And I'm kind of hacking and coughing and stuff. So if I do that during the voiceover, I apologize in advance, okay? But I'm getting better. Don't worry about me. All right. So now what we're going to do is get our little crock pot ready. Now we're doing this and it's a cheesy pasta dish, so we want to make sure that it does not stick to our crock pot, right? So you're going to go ahead and you're just going to take your cooking spray and just give it a good little coating of cooking spray, and that way we can kind of help it not to stick so much as it cooks, okay? So once we look at the smoke show, y'all. It's like special effects I didn't even pay for. All right, so what you're going to need is 1 can of cream soup. Now, when I came across this recipe, y'all, I came across it on the old TikTok, and I saw several different people do it. And so I kind of just, you know me, I just took a little from here and a little from there until I, figured out how I wanted to do it. So that's what I went with. So a lot of people use cream of chicken. I didn't have cream of chicken, so I went with cream of mushroom. Any of it'll work. It'll be just fine. You just need the cream soup. Okay, so the first thing you're going to add after your cream soup is a cup and a half of chicken broth. Okay, so add your little cup and a half of chicken broth in there. Then we're going to go ahead and add in 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. Now let me go ahead and give y'all this disclaimer. This is not low fat, nor is it lactose free at all. Not at all, y'all. But you know what? It's not something we eat every night, but it's okay to have it every now and then. Everything in moderation, y'all. So then we're going to add a little bit of Italian seasoning, and y'all know a lot of times I don't measure my seasonings, but I will put y'all some measurements down in the description box. If I had to guess, and of course I am, I'd say about a tablespoon of each of these. So Italian seasoning, some garlic powder, and some onion powder. About a tablespoon of each should be just fine. Now, if you add a little more or a little less, it's going to be all right. So it's not an exact, cooking's not usually an exact science unless you're making bread. Then it really is an exact science. But otherwise, it's not. So just go with your gut. Just do what you feel. So I added a little bit of salt, not a whole lot, because we got this cream soup and the broth and all that in there, and we don't want to make it too salty. But again, you got to taste this along the way, see if it's good, all that good. I mean, not while you got raw chicken in the pot, but you know what I'm saying. All right, and I added a good bit of black pepper in there also. So now we're going to add in 1 packet of onion soup mix. This is another reason I didn't add a lot of salt. We were adding some things that have sodium already in them, and we don't want to overdo it. Then we're going to add in about a tablespoon or so of hot sauce. Now, if I would have just been doing this on my own, I probably would have added a little more hot sauce. Just because it called for hot sauce, I would have added a little bit more. But normally when I make a recipe for the first time, and this was the first time I made this, I try to follow as close to the directions that I find as I can, because that way I get an honest reaction as to how I like it. And then if I do like it, I'll tweak it next time I make it. And that's almost a 100% gonna happen. Once I make something the first time, I'm gonna adjust it to my taste the second time around. And I think a lot of people do that. So then you're just gonna go ahead mix everything up real good and then add in your chicken breast. Just make sure that they're down underneath your liquid so they'll get nice and cooked in there. Now, then we're going to add to this, because, again, not low fat. We're going to add 1 block of cream cheese, and then we're going to add half a stick of butter, because we can. Again, y'all, not something we want to eat every night, but it's definitely delicious, so it's definitely a good treat. Great crock-pot meal. Easy, throw it all together, and then you don't have to worry about sitting in the kitchen all day. It's almost fall, y'all, even though it's 105 degrees outside. Oh my gosh, but I'm trying to get y'all ready. All right, so we're going to we'll put the lid on that, let it cook 3 to 4 hours on high. Some of the recipes say low. It is not going to cook your chicken in 3 hours on low. Don't do it. You're going to need 3 to 4 hours on high for that. So once we cook it for a couple of hours or 3-4 hours and our chicken is done, we're going to go ahead and shred our chicken up and then make sure that our cream cheese is all mixed up in there. So you don't have to take your chicken out to shred it. You see I'm shredding it right there in the pan or in the crock pot with 2 forks. And if it's cooked long enough, it's tender enough to do that. If you can't pull it apart with the forks, you need to cook it a little bit longer. Okay, then we're going to add in 1 box of pasta. I use the penne pasta. You can use whatever kind of pasta that you have. Any of it will work just fine. Then I'm adding in that 2.5 cups of chicken broth. Mix that up real good because we want to make sure that all of our noodles, are underneath that liquid. Because if they're not, if you got noodles floating on top of this, y'all, when you cook it, some of those noodles are not going to get done. So anytime you cook noodles in the crock pot, make sure that they go underneath the liquid. Okay, so now we're going to add the good stuff. We're going to add in about 6 ounces of Parmesan cheese. Was this 6 ounces in this bag? I don't have a clue. I got the big container at Sam's and I put it in Ziploc bags, and that's what I'm using. I put in there what looked like about 6 ounces to me. And I really feel like if it was too much, is it really going to hurt anything? It absolutely is not. You can't have too much cheese. I've told y'all that 100 times. So anyway, mix your Parmesan up in there real good. And then, because, we don't have enough cheese yet, we're going to go ahead and add some mozzarella. Now, you could also use Monterey Jack if you wanted to. But you know what, y'all? This was low fat. So I'm saving y'all some calories right here. This is my gift to y'all. Some low-fat mozzarella cheese. But I added in about 8 ounces. Was that exactly 8 ounces? I don't know, because, I just dumped the rest of the bag in there, and that's what we went with. It was probably close, because it wasn't a full bag, but it was probably close. Look, crumbs. Let's get those in there, too. All right, once you put your cheese on there, don't stir that up. We're going to put the lid back on this. We're going to cook it on high for another 45 minutes, okay? Just let it cook for another 45 minutes. And y'all, when I tell you, look, the whole house was smelling good. Look, this is definitely going to get made again in my house. But like I said, not very often. And y'all see that butter floating on top? Well, watch this magic trick. I'm about to mix it up in there, and it's going to disappear, and you'll never know it was there. You'll just put it right out of your mind that it was swimming in butter. But just mix it up, y'all. Look how good this looks, though. Y'all, you can't tell me this don't look good. It is creamy and cheesy, and look, the flavor. I mean, when you put all that stuff in there, I mean, you can't not have good flavor. You know what I'm saying? So I just scooped me up a bowl and put me a little bit of chives over there because I didn't have any green onion, which I would have put on there if I'd had it. But I always have chives. So I dumped me a few little chives on there, y'all. But look, that is it. That's our crock pot recipe. Getting y'all ready for fall. All right. I'll see y'all later. Bye, y'all.